Welcome back to studies. So we are on our action items, 4.1, policy 7. I'll pass this over to trustee Spitich.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So 4.1, policy 7, board operations. If we scroll all the way down to 13.4, communication allowances. We had just made some changes there, specifically, instead of using the word communications, we specifically used the word cell phone because that's what we were specifically referring to in this policy. And then we also added to 13.4, the 13.4.1, recognition of technology and communication needs. A monthly communication allowance shall be made to all trustees. The rate of the allowance shall be established at least annually by the board. So we wanted to put a separation between the board chair and the trustee allowances. So that's why we had added that in there. And then on 13.5, the travel allowance, we just simply added that they'll submit their claims monthly. Is there any questions about that?
I do have a question about, it's the other portion that was added in.
13.
Yeah, item 13, yeah. So
Oh, sorry, I missed that. Sorry, I
Yeah.
missed that one. Sorry.
this item, it is prohibited for a trustee to make a claim for reimbursement or compensation from two separate organizations should the trustee serve in multiple capacities. So the last time that this policy came forward, I did make a comment about making a claim if you already are getting compensation from somewhere. But I was specifically talking about a cell phone. So, because this actually wouldn't work, because you, in communities, you will have people that will run for trusteeship and counselors, and they do serve on more than one board. And there's lots of people that serve on more than one board, right? So we wouldn't want to consider this. It would really limit opportunity for people to volunteer for, or to come forward for, trusteeship if they're on other boards. Charlie?
Just regarding that, Madam Chair, I think the intention of the discussion here is for the submission of expenses following. You can't claim from two organizations. So if you're attending the Meet the Barbecue or Meet the MLA Minister Barbecue tonight, you can't claim it for Star Catholic and your other organization and do a double dip, so to speak. So if you're getting a cell phone allowance that covers your expenses from one organization, you can't claim it with the other organization. Thus, for your $75 cell phone bill, you can't be receiving $150.
Yeah.
75 from each. That's the intention of that.
Yeah,
policy.
I
Yeah.
do find it confusing though. Like it would, because it's not clear enough. So if there is somebody out there that wants to, like, maybe we need better wording in that area. Like I am aware of trustees that are trustees and they are counselors or they're mayors or they're in their community. So this would be really confusing on how to sort that out. Because it says.
Would that not be something discussed at the orientation?
Yeah, it could be, but I'm just wondering if policy has a recommendation if that should be reworded.
Well, I just have a comment. I mean, at the end of the day, this is almost a housekeeping item. And at the end of the day, the trustees, they're on the honor system. And also having said that, we have never had, this didn't come in place because something was being misused or abused. That's not what's happening here. So I just want to make that comment.
I just think it is a little bit confusing because somebody who's a counselor who's paid a certain amount based on when you're there, does that mean then they can't claim that they can do, you know, like that would be confusing. It needs a bit, I think it needs a bit of wordsmith as to what exactly what they're talking about.
And we've never had, like Dan said, we've never had this happen before. The way it was explained to me was, for example, if I was claiming on Covenant Health and the Strut happening, the same thing. But we never had this happen, so why are we?
Charlie?
So an honorarium is not something that you submit a claim for as a trustee. This does, it is worded that you don't make a claim for reimbursement from two organizations for the same thing. So definitely we can wordsmith, but that is the intention, is you're actually submitting a claim for the same thing from two organizations.
So it wouldn't be the honorarium. It's
No.
just submitting a
Nope.
Yeah.
Yes, you can submit your travel to board office and to Covenant Health to go to the same event.
Right.
If you're on that board.
That's where the difference is, it's about the claim. It's not honorary. So it is a bit confusing to me, but that's, you know, we can move down to the next part. So going back to the cell phone amount. So do trustees have to demonstrate their costs of a cell phone? Do they have to like submit anything?
No.
And if their costs have not increased, they still can make this claim.
Right.
And if they don't use their cell phone for business, then that claim is still there. Because it says, sorry, go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah, I just wanna, because I drafted the wording for policy on this, the cell phone allowance is only for the board chair. And that's why it's worded that way. So in the first bit, cell phone allowance is for the board chair. The rest of the trustees get a technology and communications allowance.
Correct.
So that includes all forms of technology that they are using, whether it be their home internet, their own personal phone, etc. It's not broken down into a cell phone allowance for other than the board chair.
Okay, so just the way that it's been practiced in the past, the cell phone allowance for the board chair, you had to demonstrate that your costs increased. So now are we saying that we don't have to demonstrate that our costs have increased?
That's what,
Right.
because the fact is you have to have so.
I don't know where it says previously you had to demonstrate a cost increase. Was that just not something that was being done?
Yeah, so when I became chair, that is what, that was the procedure that was followed.
Okay, that's fair enough, but I don't think we have a specific policy that states that.
Yeah, so anyhow, I'm just trying to clarify.
Oh.
Like if we,
No, we do not have a policy that specifically says you need to itemize. No.
okay, I just want to make sure of that. Okay, so if there's no further discussion or questions, do we want to go forward?
Nothing. So if there is no discussion, then I would ask that the board give policy 7, board operations, first and second reading as presented.
All in favor? Okay, opposed? 3 in favor, 1 opposed, so that motion is carried. And 4.2. Go ahead, trustee Fitch.
Yeah, so this is the appendix B of policy 7, which is the trustee honorary expense. So if we have a look at that one, this is as of August 25th. So we had changed the time allowance to monthly instead of annually. And that's how those numbers break down monthly. Any questions about those numbers? Okay, and then down at number 6, again, as Charlie said, we wanted to decipher between the board and the trustee cell phone allowance. So specifically, so that's why we changed the wording there. As well with number 7. Just struck tech. Any questions about those changes? If there's no discussion on that, then I would ask that the board give policy 7 appendix B, trustee honorary expense schedule, first and final reading, first and second reading. Shouldn't it be?
The appendix should only be one reading.
Should only be one reading? Okay, first and final reading as presented, and that the revised appendix now be in effect for the division.
Okay, so I do appreciate that the travel per diem has improved and can be, claim more actual. But like I will voice my concern about the cell phone and the communication allowance. Because I really do think that as trustees, we should have to demonstrate that we do have increased costs. So anyhow, that's my comment. So Dan has made the motion and I'll call the question. All those in favor? And opposed? Okay, so 3 in favor, 1 opposed. And that motion is carried. Okay, for
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Dan. Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, so this is a continuation of our conversation from June in regards to locally developed courses. We didn't have these courses approved before the last meeting in June. And so we are looking for the approval of the study of film and as well as ukulele and guitar. And so just as a reminder, locally developed courses are for high school. They are typically courses that do not exist within the current curriculum, but are approved by Alberta Education.
Excellent, nice options. Yeah. Okay, is there somebody that is willing to make that motion, the recommended motion? Trustee Tuckwood?
I think they're all awesome options, by the way. The motion that the board authorize an extension to the locally developed courses as presented and the resources required to teach them for the time prescribed in the background.
Great, thank you. All those in favor? Okay, and that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay, number 5, committee reports. So there is one report today. So everybody, the action item up there, there's only one, and this is in regards to zone 2-3. Zone bylaws are always reviewed prior to the annual AGM. And if there's any comments about zone bylaws or considerations, there hasn't been any talk. A couple of years ago, there was a lot of talk about how to bring position statements forward, and that really got cleaned up. That was some of the major changes with zone bylaw. But anyhow, I don't have any recommendation. The zone 2-3 advocacy committee finished the trustee booklet, so hopefully you find that as a resource as we move into elections, and pass it on to people that would be interested in running for trusteeship. And we also have the ACSTA handbook, so there's 2 good resources there. And yes,
Madam Chair, if I might ask that you forward that on to me so that I can do that with the materials that we have.
oh, sure, yeah.
Just to make sure it's there.
Yeah. That was all developed through our coffee conversations. There's some good feedback from the Edwin Parr first year teachers for board members. Yeah, just it was really good to hear from the first year teachers what boards can do to support teachers and in their work. The other item that I will mention is that our position statement has been declined to go forward for the fall general meeting. So that recommendation came from the advocacy committee or the policy development committee for ASBA. So I guess if there's still concerns about us moving forward with something, that will have to be developed over this next year. So, you know, to come forward for next year. So anyhow, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
We had very good support from the rural boards, but we did not have support for the metro boards, and that kind of killed the position statement. So anyhow, just thank you to the board for working on that over the past few months. And I guess if there's any comments or questions about my report. If not, we will be having another meeting September 24th. So that'll be the next one. Okay, so we can continue on. We are at our in-camera. So I will need trustees to move us into in-camera. We do have 2 items, and it will be Superintendent, Secretary, Treasurer invited to stay. Okay, Trustee Tugwood. Move us into camera. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, and that's good. So trustees and Superintendent, Secretary.